Welcome to Garden Crafts, where we believe even the humblest bottle deserves a second life with a smile. In today's video, we'll take you through 18 magical garden projects that turn ordinary plastic bottles into charming characters full of personality. Some wear silly grins, others pout or dream. All of them grow real herbs and greens right from your wall, patio, or fence. We created this collection to inspire joy, reuse what we already have, and make gardening feel a little more playful, no matter your age or space. If a design speaks to you, tell us which one in the comments. We read every one. Like this video, if it brought you a smile. And if you believe in turning trash into treasure, hit subscribe and grow with us. Now, let's bring your garden to life one face at a time. There's something unexplainably uplifting about a wall of smiling faces, especially when they're made from yesterday's trash. In this tiny backyard corner, what once was a heap of old plastic bottles has become a vertical parade of laughter and life. Each bottle planter wears a cartoon expression, wide-eyed and goofy, sleepy and sweet, mischievous, or shy. The characters don't speak, but they seem to whisper encouragements to the little herbs sprouting from their heads. Their bright acrylic colors reflect the sunlight, casting cheerful hues on the palette behind them. From basil and mint to kale and baby lettuce, the garden grows not just in greenery, but in joy. This hydroponic-style setup keeps the roots gently moistened, with water flowing easily from cap drill holes. It's clean, contained, surprisingly simple, ideal for balconies, fences, or walls that need a little soul. A watering can rest nearby, waiting for little hands to give these garden guardians their daily drink. There's no automation here, no sterile steel, just bottles, paint, soil, and love. The smiles may be painted on, but the happiness they bring is real. Every face tells a story, and every sprout above it says, we're growing together. In this garden of expressions, nature and nurture meet with a grin. Tucked beside a garden wall, where the breeze whispers like waves and laughter drifts like sea foam, a tiny boat prepares to sail, not on water, but in a sea of green. Its hull is not wood alone, but memories and discarded plastic. Now reborn as planters for lettuce, basil, and parsley. Each bottle inside this boat holds a character. One wears an eye patch, another sports a painted captain's hat, while a sleepy sailor snoozes between sprigs of rosemary. The colors are bold, reds, aquas, sunflower yellows, and the faces burst with life. These are not passive containers. They are passengers, and the journey, a daily adventure in sun and soil. The frame, lovingly shaped like a boat's bow, leans against an old wall. It's anchored not by nails, but by intention. Each bottle is snugly set within, held firm yet floating in spirit, with simple hydroponic watering. No soil needed. The roots dangle, sip, and thrive. Children pass by and wave at the painted faces. Parents kneel to snip herbs for supper. And all the while, the boat stands ready, still, yet always sailing. It reminds us that movement isn't only forward. Sometimes it's inward, sometimes it's upward, and sometimes it's growing quietly inside a bottle on a boat, dreaming of greener shores. There's a fence in the corner of this backyard that doesn't just divide space. It tells a story in smiles. Not the kind you fake for camera, but the ones that bloom gently on painted plastic faces, strung lovingly by hand and filled with growing things. Old bottles, once tossed aside, now dangle like cheerful lanterns, swaying with herbs that nod politely in the breeze. Mint peeks from the top of a sky blue grin. Basil sprouts from behind a lemon yellow smirk. Every planter carries a face, each one different, all full of joy. Hung with rope on an aging wooden fence, they brighten the boundary with character. The wind chimes nearby whisper soft metallic notes as leaves rustle below. It's not just a vertical garden. It's a chorus of happiness, a tiny gallery of green hair guardians. Beneath them, the soil is rich and damp from a morning spray. A trowel sits forgotten next to a pot of marigolds. This setup doesn't need high-tech gear. Just bottles, paint, twine, and a little heart. And here's the secret. The more you water the plants, the more the smiles grow, not just on a fence, but inside you. Each bottle holds more than greenery. It holds intention, a reminder that joy can be handmade. that boundaries can bloom, that even trash, with a touch of care, can become something that hangs proudly, smiling in the sun. In one sunlit corner of the garden, for curious little faces peek out from a wooden ledge, not human, not quite ceramic, but something handmade and full of heart. They're animals, yes, but not ones you'll find in a forest. These are bottle-born companions, creatures conjured from color, scissors, and imagination. The cat's ears tilt gently, painted whiskers stretching across its soft orange cheeks. The panda smiles with shy round eyes, holding parsley like a crown. The frog's wide mouth curls upward beneath a tuft of mint, and the bunny, gentle and peachy, shelters a tiny sprig of thyme. These planters don't just hold greens. They cradle laughter. They catch the gaze of passing children and draw smiles from those who once saw only waste. Each one has been shaped carefully, cut with soft hands, painted with a steady brush, dried under the sun like old toys rediscovered. They thrive not just because of sunlight and water, but because they're loved, hung from trellises or perched on windowsills. They whisper small stories to anyone who pauses. They invite care, curiosity, and creativity. There's no app for what they teach. Just bottles turn animals, plants turn lessons, and a simple truth. Anything, even trash, can bloom into joy when you give it ears, eyes, and a name. Not all garden faces wear smiles. In this corner of the world, some bottles frown. They pout. They glare with droopy eyelids and wrinkled brows. And yet, from their tops, life spills out green, crisp, and utterly cheerful. This is the Grumpy Mood Planter Collection, a tiny rebellion against the notion that only happiness can grow beauty. These bottles, once discarded and forgotten, now were expressions of annoyance and exhaustion, like cartoons after a long day. And still, they thrive. Each one houses herbs that stretch happily toward the sun, lettuce, mint, dill, all soaking up light, unaware of the moody faces below. There's a kind of mischief in their presence. Visitors chuckle, children point. That one looks like Grandpa, someone says. And suddenly, the grumpiest of the group becomes a favorite. Water is poured gently into their caps. The plants respond with gratitude, the faces beneath unchanged, still sleepy, still scowling, but strangely comforting. These planters are easy to make. A plastic bottle, a pair of scissors, a splash of paint, and your mood of the day is not just DIY, it's storytelling. A quiet conversation between personality and purpose. Because sometimes what grows best isn't forced cheer, but honest expression. And even the grumpiest container, when given care, can grow the happiest greens. If you listen closely on this breezy balcony, you might hear a giggle, not from the gardener, but from the mischievous faces hanging by rope from a railing. A troop of cheeky monkeys has moved in, though they don't swing or chatter. They just grow things. These monkey face planters are made from plastic bottles painted bright jungle green. Their wide smiles curl up like mischievous secrets, and their eyes, hand-drawn and wide, seem to follow the sun. Each bottle holds a burst of green, sprigs of basil, clusters of mint, tiny thyme leaves tickling the air. They're hung with natural rope handles, giving the entire setup a handcrafted feel, as if the garden itself decided to go wild for a day. And though they're playful in appearance, they're practical too. Each monkey belly holds a small hydroponic system. Nothing complex, just clean cuts and clever gravity doing the work. This isn't a jungle, but it's a small rebellion against plain walls and lifeless fences. It's where upcycling meets a sense of humor. Children name them monkeys. Adults smile when they water them. A kitchen herb clipped from a monkey's crown tastes better somehow, like it grew in joy. And that's the magic here, not just the herbs or the ropes, but the permission to be playful, to turn something as simple as a bottle into a little face full of life, swinging softly in the breeze, growing green and laughter together. In the stillness of early morning, before the wind rises and the garden speaks, a corner of this quiet space begins to shimmer, not with gold or fire, but with imagination. Suspended from a wooden frame, a unicorn blinks gently. Below it, a dragon curls in midair, leafy parsley growing from its back. They are made not from legends, but from yesterday's bottles, cut with care, painted with story, and brought to life by hands that believe in whimsy. The unicorn's face is soft and inviting, its horn glittering beneath the sunlight. The dragon, green with playful teeth and painted wings, grins beside it. They sway gently on thick twine, floating just above a wooden ladder shelf stacked with old terracotta pots. The herbs they cradle, lettuce, basil, small thyme, spill over like enchanted hair. There's a sense of play here, but also reverence, as if even in a small garden, one might stumble into another world, a world where trash becomes myth and fantasy grows from soil-free roots. These floating planters work simply. Suspended bottles, a splash of hydroponic water, a plant that needs no ground, just breath and care. And somehow, the joy is more than practical. It's magical. Children water them with whispered wishes. Adults smile without realizing. For in this garden, plastic does not pollute. It plays. It dreams. It dares to believe that even dragons and unicorns can be reborn, not from clouds or fire, but from paint, string, and the heart of someone who still believes in wonder. When the rain has passed and the sun rises just right, some gardens bloom in color, but not just from petals. On this wall, a rainbow doesn't arc across the sky. It beams from bottles, grinning with goofy expressions and bursting with green. It began with just one bottle, painted red, smiling widely and planted with mint. Then came orange, then yellow, each one brighter than the last. Soon, an entire chorus of colors lined the fence, each bottle bearing a unique cartoon face. Some cheerful, others sleepy, a few surprised. Above them, glimmering CDs dangle like improvised sun catchers, spinning tiny sparks of light into the garden. The plants, basil, lavender, oregano, don't mind the whimsy. They grow as they always do, roots sipping water from inverted bottles, leaves curling toward the warmth. No soil here, just careful cuts, clean string, and a rhythm of refilling that feels like tending to laughter itself. This wall is no longer just wood and wire. It's a gallery of joy, a vertical playground of recycled life. It invites children to point and guess the faces. It inspires neighbors to pause and smile. It teaches without a single word that sustainability isn't dull. It's dazzling. Here, plastic doesn't pollute. It paints. It sings. It shows that even the smallest acts of care, some color, some rope, a bit of water, can brighten not just a wall, but a world. And in the language of gardens, that's as close as we come to magic. Not all gardens are rustic. Some bloom with attitude, with personality, with style. On this teal-painted garden shelf, a group of fashion-forward bottle planters lines up like friends posing for a group photo at a summer brunch. They wear sunglasses, big, round, cat-eyed, and painted sun hats with daisies and stripes. Their smiles are wide and confident. Their expressions seem to say, "Yes, darling, we compost." Each bottle, once destined for landfill, has been transformed into a small fashion icon. Some cradle basil and cilantro. Others spill over with lettuce or little blooms. They sit neatly in rows, forming a hydroponic garden that feels like a catwalk of creativity. There's no soil here, just clean water systems keeping roots fresh and thriving. It's silly, yes, but it's also stunning. These planters prove that sustainability doesn't have to be beige or boring. It can be bold, expressive, and full of life. Children love naming them. Adults stop to take photos. And somewhere between the laughter and the sunlight, a deeper message grows that reusing can be radiant and recycling can be runway ready. So next time you see a bottle, don't just toss it. Picture it with a painted grin, a pair of sunglasses, and a head full of herbs. Because even in the garden, style matters, and so does Second Life. There's a hush that settles over the garden just before twilight. Not silence, but stillness. In that hour, these pastel planters seem to sigh. Their painted eyes stay closed, as if dreaming. Their cheeks glow gently with warmth, as if remembering something kind. Each bottle is an ode to softness. No bold colors or loud shapes, just lavender, mint, peach, and blue, brushed on with care. The faces are peaceful, long lashes resting on blushing cheeks, smiles almost invisible, like a whisper caught in the wind. These are not just containers, they are daydreamers. And from their crowns of soil or water Thyme and basil and spinach rise slowly, cradled by care. Wind gently spins a set of colorful pinwheels nearby. A worn bench beneath them creaks ever so slightly. Someone has left behind a watering can, a pair of gloves, and an open book. This isn't a place of productivity. It's a place of peace. These planners teach nothing loudly. Instead, they remind quietly that rest is part of growth. That softness can be strength. That even discarded plastic, when treated with tenderness, can become something that soothes both eyes and heart. In small spaces, on balconies, in school corners, or quiet patios, these sleepy faces bring calm. They are garden lullabies, proof that the gentlest things often grow the deepest roots. In the quiet rhythm of midday, when shadows are short and colors feel loud, a particular fence begins to shimmer, not just with paint, but with light that dances. Here, plastic bottles hang in perfect rainbow formation, red to violet, each painted with cartoon grins and cartoon size. The faces are playful. The herbs they cradle, parsley, mint, thyme, spill out like wild hair. But what steals the eye, truly, are the CDs, strung between bottles, old discs, scratched, forgotten, once part of living rooms and laptops, now catch sunlight and shattered into little galaxies. They spin gently, sending rainbow flashes across the garden wall, across soil, across leaves. Sometimes, when the breeze is just right, it feels like the entire wall is breathing color. There's no automation here, just twine, paint, and imagination. The bottles act as clever hydroponic homes, their necks trimmed and filled with small plants. Their roots reach into clean water below, sipping steadily. Above them, the CDs don't feed the plants, but they feed the soul. It's a spectacle made from simplicity, a reminder that light and joy often come from what we thought we'd thrown away. That color can be created, not just discovered. That a CD, a bottle, and a bit of twine can become a garden not just of greenery, but of wonder. This rainbow doesn't follow the storm. It leads away in a quiet kitchen corner, where herbs meet laughter and sunlight drapes gently across the floor. A little team of robots hangs at attention, green, grinning, and ready to grow. They're not made of wires or gears. These bots were once plastic bottles, now transformed into herb guardians with big eyes and squiggly arms. Their paint jobs are creative. Metallic silvers, bright greens, and fun symbols like bolts and circuit lines. Each one holds a plant. Parsley in the thinker, basil in the sleepy one, and cilantro sprouting from the quiet dreamer. They swing gently on bits of twine, suspended from an old curtain rod. Below them, a child's robot toy watches like commander. This isn't just a garden. It's a mission, one where flavor and fun go hand in hand. These planters aren't complex. The bottles are cut and inverted, filled with water and a touch of nutrient solution. No soil, no fuss, just roots dangling freely, sipping quietly, perfect for windows with limited sill space, or families who want to bring the garden indoors. Kids adore them. They talk to them, name them, watch their leaves grow as if they're raising tiny green companions. Adults find joy in simplicity, the harmony of reuse, imagination, and function. In a world that moves too fast, these gentle garden robots slow things down. They teach care. They whisper routine. And in every herb you harvest from their heads, there's a little flavor of fun, a whole lot of heart. They leer, they grin, they roll their big painted eyes. These aren't your ordinary planters. This is a monster wall, not to scare but to grow. A parade of silly faces, all born from forgotten plastic, now guarding the herbs like little cartoon sentries with very wild hair. Each bottle is painted with care and mischief. Some have jagged teeth, some long pink tongues. A few have more eyes than nature allows, and others with their googless stares with pride. Chives and green onions shoot skyward from their tops, looking exactly like hair that's never met a comb. It's absurd. It's joyful. This vertical setup doesn't just save space. It reinvents it. The bottles are trimmed cleanly, mounted with screws or strong glue, and filled with water or damp substrate. No mess, no complexity, just gravity, curiosity, and a little human play. The fence behind them, once bland and bare, now feels alive. A bicycle rim becomes a garden halo. Chalk scribbles below add to the chaos. This isn't a garden for perfection. It's for fun, for kids, for families who believe that gardening should laugh with you. Visitors can't help but smile. It's not just about the plants. It's about spirit, about showing that monsters can grow herbs too. That trash can transform not into beauty alone, but into character. And maybe, just maybe, we all have a little silly monster in us, waiting to be painted on, filled with chives, and hung proudly on the wall. In this sun-kissed patch of garden, something silly grows, not just in the soil, but from painted grins and crooked eyes. A troop of clowns has arrived, not to juggle or tumble, but to hold plants with pride. Their cheeks are rosy, their noses red, and their leafy hair untamed. These plastic bottles, once colorless and cast aside, have been brought back with bold brushstrokes and a sense of play. Each one tells its own joke. A tongue sticking out here, wide blinking eyes there. Lettuce and curly parsley spring from their tops, turning hairstyles into harvests. They sit along a wooden pallet, each face more ridiculous than the last. Together, they form a comedy of color, a lineup of garden jesters with roots that run deep and personalities even deeper. Beneath them, the soil holds hints of marigold and lavender, and nearby, a stone is painted with the words, "Grow with a giggle." It's more than decoration. It's invitation. For children to ask questions. For grown-ups to pause. For anyone to believe that gardens can be humorous too. The hydroponic setup is simple. Cut bottles, nutrient water, a little sun. The joy, however, is extraordinary. Because when a bottle smiles, you smile back. And when your garden laughs, it grows differently, more freely, more kindly. These aren't just planters, they're companions. And every bloom from their heads is proof that joy grows best when rooted in fun. They don't fly, they don't wear capes that flap in the wind, though some are painted on. But in the quiet of this garden wall, they save the day just the same, one sprout at a time. The superhero bottle planter wall stands like a league of protectors, recycled plastic bottles reborn as champions of growth, each one painted in the bold colors of imagination. Crimson red, electric blue, sunbeam yellow. Their eyes are masked, their symbols proud, lightning bolts, stars, shields. From their tops, lettuce and spinach burst forth like heroic hair, mounted on a simple pallet. They hang in neat rows, a vertical force of nature and nurture. No need for high-tech powers here, just clever cuts, a bit of hydroponic water, and belief. The roots sip steadily, the leaves reach skyward. These heroes don't fight villains, they fight waste. Children are drawn to them, naming each one. Captain Kale, Spinach Star, the incredible herb. The names may change, but the message remains. You can grow something good. You can save something small. You can turn plastic into purpose. This wall is a declaration, not just of creativity, but of care, that even in the smallest space, even with the simplest tools, you can build something super, something green, something kind, because the world doesn't need another Cape Crusader. It needs hands willing to paint, to plant, to reuse, and to grow something better. In the shade of an old tree, the garden grows quiet. Leaves rustle softly, and the breeze carries the faintest scent of rosemary and daisy. But if you look up just there, you'll see them, a gathering of owls, not feathered but painted and smiling, suspended gently in the air. These aren't birds. They're bottles. Bottles once tossed, now turned into wise old watchers of the garden path. Each one is a tiny guardian, its plastic shell painted with careful lines to mimic wide eyes, delicate feathers, and playful patterns. Some gaze calmly, others blink with curiosity, and from their heads, herbs and blooms sprout as if the owls themselves are dreaming in green. They hang in a row, tied with jute to the branches. Below, ribbons dance like tail feathers, catching light and wind. The tree becomes a stage, the garden a storybook. Inside each bottle, the planting is simple, a little soil or a clean hydroponic system. The roots don't know they're nestled in a painted owl. They only feel the care. And the owls? They seem content to hang quietly, offering beauty without demanding attention. Children name them. Grown-ups rest beneath them. Birds sometimes land beside them, confused but welcome. It's a reminder. Wisdom doesn't always arrive in silence. Sometimes it arrives in color, in recycling, in gentle movement and simple craft. These owls don't hoot, but in their stillness, they teach. Even the smallest things, when lifted by imagination, can become something quietly magical. In this quiet patch of backyard, the kings and queens of the garden do not wear crowns. They wear painted grins, smirks, and sleepy eyes. They sit not on velvet chairs, but on rubber thrones, old tires, stacked and painted like pastel pedestals, offering rest to the guardians of green. Each planter face tells a story. There's a bottle with rosy cheeks, one with a fierce eyebrow, another with its tongue out in defiance. Their roots drink silently from a simple hydroponic base or a pocket of damp soil. Above, the plants flourish, lettuce, kale, basil, rising like hairdos of glory. Below, the tires give form and presence, grounding the whimsy in something solid and round. The tires, once destined for landfill, are transformed with color. Lavender, sky blue, peach. They become part throne, part sculpture. Children climb around them. Adults snap pictures. No one walks past without smiling. This idea is more than quirky. It's practical. Tires are durable, resistant to the elements, and give height to small planters. The bottles nest perfectly on top, turning a flat surface into a stage. And suddenly, a bottle with a face becomes a royal portrait in a garden gallery. It's proof that elevation doesn't need riches, only imagination. That what once carried cars can now carry joy. That every discarded object, when seen with new eyes, can become something noble. A throne not for royalty, but for herbs, for laughter, for life. At the edge of the garden, where the marigolds meet the gravel, something rises tall. Not a tree, not a statue, but a tower of smiles. A totem of old bottles, stacked like stories told in paint, each with a face and a sprout, each one holding a whisper of green. This is the Bottleface totem pole garden. A single wooden stake forms the spine. Around it, clean plastic bottles are threaded, layered like beads, their caps removed, their bodies transformed. Each is hand-painted, some with winks, others with sleepy eyes or curious brows. From their open tops, herbs grow upward, parsley reaching for sky, chives waving in the breeze. The vertical form doesn't just save space. It changes perspective. From afar, it's art. Up close, it's a column of character. The colors are bright, the brush strokes imperfect, the whole piece humming with life. At the base, wildflowers spill freely, softening the structure and grounding in the earth. Watering is simple. Just a pour from above lets moisture trickle through the column, nourishing roots tier by tier. Gravity becomes gardener. The tower becomes a teacher, not just of gardening, but of vision, because this was trash once. Bottles tossed aside, heads turned from them. But now they stand tall, proud, expressive. Now they hold life, not liquid, stories, not labels. And in every face, painted with care, planted with hope, there's a reminder: growth doesn't need ground. It only needs imagination. In a quiet corner of the garden, where the grass is greenest, a little flock has gathered to graze. Not on clover, but on sunlight and water. They don't bleat or wander. They just rest. Their cotton ball coats soft to the touch, their painted eyes closed in peaceful slumber. These aren't ordinary sheep. They're yesterday's plastic bottles, rescued and reborn. Each one has been carefully cleaned, painted a soft sheepy white, and given a personality. Floppy felt ears listen to the breeze, and tufts of parsley or ivy grow like unruly wool from their heads. They're a lesson in gentle transformation. There's a simple honesty to them. The cotton wool might get damp, the felt ears might fade, but that's part of their charm. They're not meant to be perfect. They're meant to be loved. They are placed on windowsills, nestled in garden beds, or lined up on a shelf, bringing a sense of calm wherever they go. They teach a quiet story about finding peace in small things, about the magic of making something with your own hands. They remind us that even the most mundane objects can be turned into a flock of dreams, standing quietly in the sun, growing a little bit of peace for everyone to see.